Welcome, my lovely shadowling. Today we have 31 days of October so that you can fill this spooky month with at least one movie or TV show episode a day. Number 1. I don't even have to look. It's Trick or Treat, not Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat. It is 2007 rated R, and I love this movie. When I think of Halloween movies, I remember watching this as a kiddo, loving it, and when I got older, I had to find this movie. Do you ever do that, where you remember seeing a movie when you were younger, and you remember the good vibes and like the creepiness, the spookiness, and you're like, I need to find this? I did. I was so happy. I now own it on DVD. Yes, I still own DVDs. This is the Halloween anthology that we needed to remind us that children can be evil, and Anna Paquin is top tier. And of course, I'm only speaking about her acting skills completely. She is an amazing actress. Sam is awesome. If you don't like Sam, what are you doing with your life? The visuals, the sets, the sounds, the karma. Did I mention Sam? This is based on a comic-style storytelling, and you'll want to pay attention to details, especially the very, very end, like from beginning to end. The gore is low to medium, and there is one trigger warning. The animal retires from this earth early. It's off-screen, you don't see it, you don't hear it. I pretend this scene doesn't exist. On my personal spookometer, this is 10. He's cuter in the masks. Out of 10, he's cuter in the masks. Number 2 is Haunt. It is 2019 release date and it is rated R. Haunt is gory fun. I would give it a medium on the gore. Some people would probably give it a medium to high. It is about a group of friends with the main character leaving a not so great relationship that you subtly get hinted at but is in the trailer. I'm spoiling nothing in this video. And they go off the beaten path to a super sus haunted house attraction that is totally not made by a group of serial lifespan shorteners, and they enter the haunted house, even though there is an extremely stupid rule before they go into the haunted house. If someone told me I had to do that before going into a haunted house, my answer would be no. And the entire movie then takes you through the haunted house, which starts out immediately, pretty obviously, a scam. Not a haunted house, but not the kind of scam you would expect. And this group of friends goes through the haunted house, and it progressively gets worse. The ending is top tier. I love the ending. When you think the movie is over, it is not, and the ending alone would make this movie one of my favorites. But I like the main characters. For me, if I don't like the main character, I don't like the movie or the show or the book. I don't do the thing where you're like, oh, you know, the point is to not care about the kid. Then why am I watching it? Why am I wasting my time if I don't like this person? Like, and on my personal spookometer, I would give it 9. No, you cannot have my phones. Out of 10, give me your phones. Number 3 is Underwater. It was released in 2020 and it is PG-13. And this is one of those movies that a lot of people hated this movie, and I love it. Underwater is a sci-fi monster movie that takes place underwater. Shocking, I know. There is a plushie and an emotional gut puncher too. We're not going to talk about it. Basically, there's a catastrophe a few miles underwater, and the crew has to walk across the seafloor to make it to another underground thingy. I'm real great with technicalities, can't you tell? And of course they are wearing like underwater suits and the such, plus monsters. I like all the characters, all of them. To make it on this list, I have to at least like the main character somewhat. I loved all the characters in this movie. Fabulous. They definitely get me emotionally connected. That was actually a gripe a lot of people had, is that they felt no connection. I don't know, maybe I'm just a Fruit Loop. And I loved the eerie underwater aspect and the creatures. When you see the big boss of creatures, I was like, oh, you got me. As I said, on the gore meter, it is low. It is more about the spooky atmosphere and the tension of, will they get to where they need to before they run out of oxygen, because they are underwater. And if any of you know anything about underwater life, it's terrifying. In real life, just saying. On my personal spookometer, it gets 9. That ending, though, out of 10 possible endings. Number 4, we are taking a more lighthearted turn, and we have the 1998 PG-13 Practical Magic. I knew this was a classic for a lot of Halloween lovers for years, and then I finally started working somewhere where the entire crew of women I worked with was like, you love Halloween, but you've never watched Practical Magic? I don't have a great love for older movies. I know. There are some older movies on here that I love, though, so put away the pitchforks, please, thank you. And I was like, okay, I'll find it. And then I couldn't find it anywhere for free. And so it took a couple more months, and I was like, okay, I'm really wanting to watch it. The trailer looks cute. I rented it and fell in love. Practical Magic is 12 plot lines in one, plus some adult beverages, whimsy, crime investigation, comedy, romance, and frogs coughing up rings. Wrapped in witchiness, it is madness, and I love it. Seriously though, it is like 12,000 different plot lines in one. It thinks it's a mystery, it thinks it's a romance, it thinks like, this is a fever dream of a movie, plus then whimsy, and I love it. Absolutely love it. The main characters are fantastic, and their sisterly bond is really realistic. I love how it isn't all terrible, and it isn't all rainbows and sunshines and puppies, because if you have siblings, you know it's not all sunshine, and you also know, if you have a good bond with your siblings, that you have a really unbreakable bond with your siblings. And this is that, but witchy, and I love it. There is no gore, so I wouldn't worry about that at all. It is very whimsical and fun, and on my personal spookometer, I would give it 10 belladonna drinks out of 10. Belladonna is not for casual drinking, guys. Number 5 is 1996's rated R Scream. Yes, I love this classic. I am only talking about Scream. Released 1996, the first one. If you want to hear a rant about the whole Scream franchise in the future, let me know. Some of them I like, some of them are One of them I think should be relegated to a chained off coffin at the bottom of the ocean, and it seems to be one people love, so let me know if you're interested in that. But for now, the gore is, I'd say, low to medium in Scream. For me, it's super low, but there is gore. It's nothing mad, though. If you don't know what Scream is, it is a cute, spooky slasher that spawned an interesting franchise, which has a lot to say about stereotypical horror movie tropes. Sidney Prescott will forever be the horror movie final girl in my heart. Sidney Prescott has a place in my heart when it comes to horror movies. She is definitely my final girl. I do like Ripley, but I need to rewatch the Alien movies. I need to give them another chance. I'm talking about like Alien and Aliens. The one with the weird hybrid creature, and they took some risks in that movie, but taking risks is good sometimes. I love this movie. I love how it pokes fun at all the stereotypes. It basically is a manual on horror movie stereotypes. On my personal spookometer, Scream gets 10. My parents are gonna be so mad at me. Out of 10, my parents are gonna be so mad at me. Number 6, The Crow, rated R. 1994. I mean, it is epic vibes. That outfit, the makeup, everything. The guitar. Like, I know everybody finds that scene super corny. If you were him and you could do whatever you wanted and you were all moody, gothed out, painted up, on your revenge, and you just felt like playing on the rooftop, why wouldn't you? Oh my gosh, I love it. So Eric and his fiancée are brutally removed from planet Earth, yet here comes Eric flapping back with a new friend, and fantastic karma is served. The score, the setting, which is its own character, basically. The characters, the crow, the everything, the mood, just everything, just everything. This movie is fabulous, and the setting of this movie really is its own character. It feels like you step into a comic book world, and it's grungy and dirty, and it's just alive, but also beautiful. And Brandon Lee really brings his character to life. Is this movie a little cheesy at times? Yes. Do I care? Absolutely not. And on a more serious note, rest in peace Brandon Lee, who tragically lost his life while filming this movie. The gore is super low, but we do have a trigger warning. I have to be careful how I word this because YouTube. There is flashbacks to non-consensual you-know-what. On my personal spookometer, this movie is 200 crows out of 10 crows. Number 7, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is rated R and it was released in 2016. It's an autopsy. So right away, the gorometer, it's gory. It's an autopsy. Like, there's spooky haunting stuff, and that's all I can tell you without spoiling it. I like it a lot. Great atmosphere, great set, and the twist is awesomely, terrifyingly not awesome. But it makes for a great story. This movie is so... It's a simple idea. Father and son, they have a body delivered. Son was about to leave with his girlfriend, decides to hang back with his dad and help him finish out the last autopsy of the day. There's an emotional trauma that these two have gone through by losing their mother, so their relationship is a little on the rocks, but it's good. And the movie is then based around their connection and solving this autopsy. And the autopsy, you see people autopsied this one lady, and she's like a corpse, so there's none of this stuff. And I don't know how to explain any of the mystery without spoiling it. It is amazing. I was like, wait, what? And then the ending, I was surprised. But the spookiness, the atmosphere, it wins it over for me. I still love it. Give me a good spooky mystery and slowly, bit by bit, solve it while you have terrifying things going on. Yeah. And there's this one moment in the hallway where they're protecting themselves. If you've seen it, you know. Trigger warning, it's an autopsy. Like I said. And there is one less cat at the end of the movie. The score is high, because autopsy. And my personal spookometer is 9 vengeances out of 10 vengeances. Number 8, rated R, released in 2011. You knew it had to be on this list. Cabin in the Woods. This is also a horror comedy that I don't know how to explain without spoiling the whole thing. There's college kids, a cabin vacation, because a cabin in the woods always goes swimmingly, and spooky stuff. The ending, great. Not what I was expecting at all. When I say the ending is great, it doesn't always mean it's a happy ending, but it's an ending that I felt satisfied by. And you'll just have to decide if you like it or not. Cabin in the Woods is definitely poking fun at horror movies, and just that poor wolf head on the, you know how like there's like mounted deer heads in like cabins where people are hunters or whatever? There's a wolf head. 10 out of 10 did not consent. It's not fun. But I love the premise. I love that you find out that when they went through this room, they were choosing what was going to happen. I love that. And I love in the end when you get to see when two characters are in a box-like thing. I'm trying to not spoil things. What they see. And then Sigourney Weaver is in this movie. I heard her voice and I was like, that's Sigourney Weaver. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know how to not spoil it. I really like the ending. So the funny thing is I saw this movie a long time ago, and the DVD we were renting it on was totally messed up, and the end was fuzzy and you couldn't see or hear anything, and so I never saw the end. And then about 2 to 3 years ago I rented it and watched it, and I was like, I love this ending. Number 9 is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Released in 2010, rated R. Not many people know about this movie. The people that do are like, I never heard of this. This is great. And let me tell you, this movie is fantastic. College kids. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a horror comedy that you need to see. Anything I say will spoil it. You just have to watch it. It's fantastic. The stereotypes, the communication skills, the dog survives. So Tucker and Dale are friends since they were children, and they, in their pickup truck, go up to their new cabin. It's gonna be their vacation home. Sunk their life savings into one of them, and it's a fixer-upper. It's hilarious. And then a group of college kids bumps into them. One of them, they're all out skinny dipping, and one of them falls in and hits her head. This movie is just, I love this movie. I love this movie. The only complaint I have about this movie is, so there's no way to make this movie work without my complaint. So I think it's one of those things that once you've seen the movie once or twice, then like there's 2 scenes that feel like they drag and they're boring, and I don't care. It is the main bad guy talking about something. There's one in the beginning and one at the end, and I just do not care. It's like critical to the plot. It needs to be in the movie. But I think there was no way to put it in the movie without rewatches being like, this part is boring. But this movie, I would watch this movie every day and never get bored. The gore is a comedic low, and on my personal spookometer, it gets 500 helmets out of 10 helmets. Number 10 was released in 2013, is PG-13, and is Mama, M-A-M-A. This is also one that not a lot of people have heard of, I guess. I tell people about it and they're like, I've never heard of it. I think it's one of those movies that you have to be an avid horror movie lover to really have seen it. It is creepy. I love it. The gore is low. The main bad guy is so creepy. I love it. I want to say the special effects have aged some, not well, but I don't care. The creep factor, the actors, the acting, it's great. The story makes sense and is just even more tragic when you find out. Anyway, 2 creepy kids, and I heavily say creepy kids, okay? Nothing against kids. I work with kids. I love them. The kids in this movie, the acting is phenomenal by everybody. So 2 creepy kids get lost in the forest. They didn't take themselves out there. Something tragic happened and they're found, like, I think a year later, and they come home to our main characters who are trying to get full custody of them. I love our main characters. One of them is in a band. She's awesome. And let's just say they weren't in the woods alone. I love the main chick. I love the main bad guy. Something happens where only the girlfriend ends up with the kids for a while because her boyfriend, who is the legal, like, blood relation trying to get full custody of them, he is just paused for a little while. I won't spoil that, but you know what happens if you've seen the trailer. But it's really good. I love her because she didn't sign up for this, and she's awesome. I love this movie. The atmosphere, the way they isolate them, perfectly good reason, believable. I love it. The doctor dude, he deserves what he got. Just gonna say that. The gore is low, and on my personal spookometer, I give it 9 creepy mamas out of 10 creepy mamas. Number 11. So, released in 2023, rated R, Saw 10, or Saw X. If you don't know what Saw is, right away, this is a Saw movie, so the gore is high. In fact, the whole point of this movie is the traps people are in. If you haven't heard, Saw 10 is, it's basically torture corn, if you know what I'm saying, with an actual plot. That makes me feel empathy towards a serial lifespan shortener. So there's that. It is really well written. It is... The fact that there were 9 Saw movies before this, and we know all about the main character and what he does to people, yet I feel empathy for him in this one. I love this movie. I love it when you can take a villain and make me feel something good towards them. Not in like a weird, the way everybody's obsessed with Loki in the Marvel movies. I mean, like, actually understand the villain and empathize with them because of their own thing, even though you're also like, yeah, no, there's been 9 movies of things you've been doing, but traps, gore, the inevitable wondering if I have ever done anything to upset a serial lifespan shortener. Yeah, this movie on my personal spookometer gets 7 traps out of 10. I really like it. The ending isn't as... It's a little open-ended. I would love to know what actually happens to her. I hope it is... I just wish it was more... How do I not spoil? More traditionally like a saw trap where there is a done mark. Like it's marked as, okay, this trap 1, you're done. I'm pretty sure she gets hers, because I mean, how could she not? But anyway. Number 12 is 2012's Rated R Sinister. This was pretty popular, so you probably know this movie, but in case you don't, Sinister it's a rare movie that's going to end up on my list, and you'll know why in a minute. But it is why all writers need therapy, and I say that as a writer. Therapy. Get help, okay? And send your kids to therapy now, too. Anywho. Well, the main character is a writer, and he decides to write a book based on the film he found of a series of unfortunate endings, very much done on purpose, while living in a very specific house, and decides to try and solve who ended these unfortunate souls. He doesn't tell the police that he found video evidence of people being ended. he just decides, oh, I'm going to, I don't like this main character, is what I'm trying to get at. I do not like this main character at all. And he gives writers a bad name, although the obsessive bit is probably quite accurate. But I would never put a story before the loved ones in my life, although I wouldn't be in that odd situation. The level of disrespect, even just towards his family, is... And if you have not seen this movie and you don't understand, you haven't seen a trailer, and somehow my description just now explained to you what it's about, I don't know how. You're amazing. It is one of the last additions to my list, so it almost made it on the second choices list, but I decided because of the spook factor and the bad guy that it got on my list at 31. So it is low on the gore, and my personal spookometer, it gets 6, your main character makes me want to become movie villains, out of 10 annoying main characters. Number 13 is rated R. It was released in 2014, and it is As Above, So Below. It is, yet again, another one of those movies that not a lot of people know about, and I love this movie. It was one of the first, and I think only movies that the actual Paris catacombs were opened up and they were allowed to film in there. They had to bring all their own stuff. They couldn't, disturb any of them, so they had to make their own sets. But they were literally filming in the Paris catacombs, which sounds so claustrophobic to me. And one of the main characters is claustrophobic, the actor in real life, so that had to be horrible. Kudos to him. Don't know how you did it. I don't know that I would have even attempted. As Above, So Below has some haters. I understand. It's because of one scene. And I get why they're like, really? There's 2 things, really, but I don't really care. I love this movie. It is the only found footage movie that will be on my list. Typically, found footage movies are just or just flat out annoying to me, but I really like this one. They all have cameras on their, what are they called? The lights, they're equipped with cameras, as well as an actual cameraman, so you get lots of POVs. I do appreciate that. There are jarringly spastic camera shaking scenes, so if you are epileptic, this is not the movie for you. And way too many POVs so close to another character's face that I can see the whites of their eyes in the dark. Kudos to these actors, comfortable with the camera being right here, at a weird angle. It's, yeah. But beyond that, I love this movie. I love the main character. A lot of people do not like the main character. I really like her. She is ballsy. And I do feel like they pigeonholed a romance in there that didn't need to be, but I like it. I don't care, and that is coming from someone that's like, you didn't need to add romance to this, but I thought their relationship was believable because they already had a backstory that they very well transitioned into it. Now, this movie is kind of jarring in that the beginning of it is less found footagey, and it's not until they get in the catacombs that it is, but I love it. The creepy creeps are creeping. The gore meter, super low. My personal spookometer is 9. Yes, the kiss doing what it does is cheesy out of 10. Cheesy kiss purposes. Yes, I know, but I still love it. I don't care. Number 14 is a relatively new movie to me. I watched it this year. It was released 2015. It is rated R, and it is Tales of Halloween. This is the second horror anthology on this list, but it leans hard into camp, and it knows it. It has no illusions about what it is. This movie, it understood the assignment. It's hilarious, and I love it. There's an alien one. the first one, like, it starts out and you're like, this is gonna be a really cheesy, dumb movie, and then a couple minutes into it, you're like, never mind, this is gonna be a really campy, awesome movie. Expect just a bajillion gore scenes and camp, all the camp and weird. The gore is a comedic medium to high. This movie is just, it's weird, and it's all over the place, kind of like me just now trying to explain it to you. All over the place is what this movie is. It's a good time. My personal spookometer is 8 very good reasons not to be a criminal out of 10 reasons to not kidnap kids. Just gonna put that out there. That one got me. I was like, there's something sketchy about this kid. And then I was like, when he got back in the car, that's like a nightmare. That's literally a nightmare. Number 15 is Shaun of the Dead. Rated R, released in 2004. It's a zombie comedy. I don't know how else to say it. It's hilarious. There's a friendship, there's romance, there's annoying parents, and a pub. You either like this horror or you think it's stupid and boring. I put it on this list, so obviously I like it. I haven't watched it in a couple years, but I remember I love it. I need to buy it. I can't find where to, like, watch it for free, so I just need to buy it. The gore, honestly, I don't remember. Google says it's high. But there are things my family and I still quote, or sing quote to each other, and the ending. I love the ending. The whole movie is just hilarious. It is more akin to dry humor, so if you like movies like Hot Fuzz, you'll like Shaun of the Dead, I think. I love Hot Fuzz. Anywho, on my spookometer, it gets 8.5 surprise endings out of 10 surprise endings. Number 16 is a movie that people are like, or they hate it, or they think it's slow. But the people who love it all remember one scene, and that is Joaquin Phoenix sitting in a closet, watching a TV, telling kids to get out of the way, and then you see it. It is Signs. It is aliens in a cornfield with kids on a farm and a non-pastor, who everyone keeps calling pastor, who is also missing his wife because she's pushing up daisies. And how could you forget the dog, you inhumane pieces of alien bait? Trigger warning. There were 2 dogs at the start of this movie. There will be none by the end. That is my only gripe. The gore is very low. My personal spookometer is 9 spooks on the TV in the closet. Out of, you would have had 10 spooks if you remember the dogs. Just saying. But I love this movie. It's super eerie. It's super creepy. I think it didn't need to show so jarringly what it showed at the end, because I think it took away from the creepiness and mysteryness when it showed it to us the way it did in the end. But I still love this movie. I still watch it all the time. Number 17, The Addams Family. 1991. I only like the 1991 version, and it's PG-13. It's the only good one, in my opinion. I don't like the second one, Addams Family Values. I don't like it at all. I'm like, I wasted that time, can't get it back forever. But anyway, this one is pure comedic goth backwards family goals. The best relationship ever goes to Morticia and Gomez. Seriously, they are great parents. They're great partners. They're supportive of their children. They're there for their children. They spend time with just them. They spend time together, Morticia and Addams, just them. Their romance is alive and well. They care about each other. They support each other. And family is the most important thing to them. The Addams Family, they're just the best weird rich people who give to charity. They give to charity, okay? And they have the best home decor. There's no gore in this movie. And on the spook-o-meter, I would say 7,000 goals out of 10 goals. Number 18 is Ready or Not, released in 2019 and rated R. It is a horror comedy. The main chick gets married. The movie takes place the day of the marriage, and after the ceremony, the family has to play a game. It's tradition. And that turns into hide and seek, and that turns into, well, the whole movie. It is... Spoilers are everywhere. Just watch the trailer. I don't know how to not spoil it. I love the end of this movie. So you don't find out until the very end if their families... How do I explain this without spoiling it? The whole movie, the family is playing this game because they think if they don't, something bad will happen. You don't find out until the very, very end of the movie if that bad thing is real or not. So you just have to wonder the whole time. The whole thing is hilarious. I do have one gripe. The scene with the kid in the barn and then the car, it drags. Like it's kind of boring. Like it kind of lost me a little bit right there. It drags, but I still watch this movie and I love it. And I just kind of fast forward through those parts now that I've seen the movie and I know what happens. But the first time I watched it, I was fine with it. Other than that, the movie is great. And the main actress, she's an amazing actor. Oh my god. Just wow. So the gore is a comedic medium to high, and my personal spookometer, this gets 9 for screams out of 10 horror movie screams. That scream, she knew the assignment and she delivered. Number 19 is 2001's rated R Jeepers Creepers. I love this movie. The sibling relationship is so accurate. If you have siblings, so accurate. And I really don't know if I would be that curious, but if my siblings and I were on a road trip on the way home and we saw what they saw, they're a brother and a sister, the main characters, and they're just driving back home to their parents. I think they're leaving college or whatever. It's like holiday, and there's an immortal creature in a trench coat that sews bodies together on his cave wall and only wakes up every 23 years for 23 days. And all of that's in the trailer. It's a super awesome movie. It's one of those movies that even when you see the creature, it just makes it creepier. The gore in this movie is medium. My personal spookometer is 8 annoyingly easy to end cops out of 10. Someone needed to give these cops bigger weapons. We really needed them to keep their heads. Number 20, The Thing, 1982, rated R. Told you there were some old movies on here. Basically, a bunch of people in Antarctica, because that's gonna go great. You're not gonna find me in Antarctica, ever. They find a huge block of ice that something has obviously gotten out of. It's a sci-fi monster movie, and the practical effects of this movie, remember this was made in 1982, the practical effects are next level. And the sound that this creature makes, it's so creepy. The acting is great, the movie is fast-paced, and I think people really would turn on each other like that. I think the paranoia and the not knowing, I think it's really accurate. I love the characters. They're all very much their own person. Right away, you have a very large cast, a very large crew in Antarctica. and you don't really even need to remember all of their names because they are each such individuals that you can remember each of them. This movie's pretty genius. There are some characters that I would have voted off the island with a brick. Good movie though. I like it. Trigger warning. There is a large cage of dogs. They do not make it to the end, and I think it's 1982, it's practical effects, so the gore isn't that gory, but it's gory, and the dogs don't make it to the next birthday, which makes me really mad. I always fast forward through this part. Like, the gore is high, it's body horror. This movie is body horror, and it's really awesome. I love this movie, it's so good. My personal spookometer is 9 movie scientists need to have common sense babysitters out of 10. Sci-fi movie scientists need common sense babysitters. It would have been 10 out of 10, except for that dog scene. Number 21 is Resident Evil, released 2002, rated R. I know, it is nothing like the video game. I know. I come into this movie just seeing it as a standalone movie, not attached to the game, and then I like it. Do the heels make it unrealistic? Yes. Do the special effects make me cringe? Now, 100%. Do I still love the movie? Obviously, because I'm telling you about it. But yeah, the special effects are not the best on one of the bad guys. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's 2000 vibes, I don't know, maybe it's when I watched it, but I really liked this movie. And I really love that the main character is, like, she's not immediately aware of everything that's going on. I really like the amnesia trope they use, it's used really well. The gore is high, trigger warning, there are zombie dogs. They're interesting to see, and my personal spookometer gets 6.5 amnesia works here out of 10 amnesias. 22. 1999 PG-13, The Mummy. I love this movie. Cannot stress enough. Loathe with a fiery passion the following 2 movies in the series. Just burn them in a hole. Burn them. Kill it with fire. The Mummy, the only one that I like and pretend exists, the 1999 one, not the weird remake one. Basically, you're just finding a lost ancient Egyptian city. There's mummies, curses, plagues. There's Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, Oded Fair. Yes. And I don't think I pronounced that last guy's name right, but I like that movie. The gore is low. And I love the whole vibes. The library scene in the beginning. Okay. Apparently the filming was treacherous. The filming was more of a horror movie than the movie. This is a comedy. It's fun. The gore is very low, hinging on almost nothing, but yeah, on my spookometer, 10, this is a wee problem out of 10 wee problems. Number 23 may surprise some of you. Hear me out. I didn't even know about this one, so 2018's released rated R, The Strangers Prey at Night. You've probably heard of The Strangers. I hated that movie. It was stupid. And you've most likely heard of The Strangers Chapter 1. But this one, The Strangers Prey at Night, I didn't know it existed. I just happened to be watching something and there was a YouTube reaction video suggested to me. It's the only one that's good, seriously. This one, like the other ones, burn them with fire. This one, I feel happy. Well, as happy as you can when watching a slasher movie with 3 masked strangers that are like trying to end a family, but the family is believable. So if you hated The Strangers and The Strangers Chapter 1, watch this one. It's like what they should have been. Number 24 is gonna be 2022's very rated R Terrifier 2. Straight out the gate. The gore meter on this is next level. There is this one scene that just keeps going and keep this poor woman. I don't know why I like these movies. The first one is so slow, but art is a mood. Like on the little tricycle thingy with the horn. And you watch this whole movie and you realize Art never makes a sound. He never says anything, makes any sound, ever, in either movies. But anyway, Terrifier 2 has an actual plot. If you've seen Terrifier, there's way more gore in Terrifier 2. If you don't like gore, torture, corn, creepy clowns, annoying family dynamics, fever dream sequences with the random nun, giving birth in insane asylums, or confusing plots, don't watch this. But it's a good movie. It's long, it's psychotic, and Art the Clown in funny little flower glasses is something I didn't know I needed in my life, but I'm happy it's in my life. Like I said, the gore is very high, and it is just gore, no trigger warning needed. However, if you watch the short stories that Art the Clown first appeared in, I didn't really like those, and there is like a trigger warning of it's not just gore. Didn't really like it, it was but Terrifier, good movie, totally slow, it's okay. Terrifier 2, it's a fever dream. On my personal spookometer, 10 next level cosplay outfits out of 10. It's fantastic. Like, yeah. Number 25 is 2023's rated R Renfield. The gore is comedically high. Number 26 is released in 1998. It is rated R, and it is another one of those ones that some people are like, you like this movie? And I'm like, I love this movie. 1998. Rated R, number 26 is Blade. I know, loads of people hate it, loads of people tolerate it. I'm weird. I love it. Wesley Snipes as Blade is just, I don't know if you could have made a better decision. It's perfect. It's comic book turned vampire dark grunge movie. It's great. Vampires are all evil, which is the only bummer of the movie, and they're trying to summon their vampire blood god, which will help them like rule over humans, because humans don't really live. They stay into the shadows. They're things of storybooks. No one believes they're real, but they're constantly eating, and humans are their food source. The effects are terrible. Some of the lines are super campy, but I love this movie. There are sword fights, hand-to-hand combat, vampires being sexy. Blade is half human and half immortal. By the way, it's got great comic book one-liners. The gore is medium to high. My personal spookometer gives it 10 bloody that club scene out of 10 bloody club scenes. Number 27. This should be in the Christmas Halloween crossovers, but it is definitely top tier on my list of Halloween movies. It is The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is 1993, rated PG. Now, if stop motion claymation is not for you, skip this movie. I know claymation kind of makes some people feel uncomfortable. Totally get it. This is not for you then. It was based on a poem written by Tim Burton. This is also the only musical on this list. I cannot tell you how much I hate musicals. I hate them. I loathe them with a fiery passion. I try to like them. I don't. I hate them. This is the only musical I like. Jack Skellington gets a little confused about Halloween versus Christmas. He has a wee little identity crisis. Sally knows what's up the whole time. Sally is just... Sally knows. No clue how they fall in love, but okay. There is no gore. And on my personal spookometer, it gets 10. I hate musicals, so the love of Halloween is strong. Out of 10, I hate musicals, so the love of Halloween is strong. Number 28 is a TV show that started in 2020, and it is The Haunting of Bly Manor. This show made me feel things. I cried at the end. Last episode is a gut punch wrapped in a sledgehammer to the emotions. But it's an emotional and creepy and multi-layered haunting. The characters, the acting, the sets, the haunts, even the child actors are splendid. I 10 out of 10 recommend this to anyone that doesn't want a particularly gory, because the gore is very low, basically non-existent, good horror spook, but it's a great story. It's based on a series of poems or short stories, poetic short stories, I don't know, but it is so good. It's just basically this chick that goes and lives as a live-in nanny for these kids, and spooky stuff happens. All of the character, they did such a good job with this show. All of the characters make sense. You get so attached to some of these characters, and some of the things that happen are heartbreaking and haunting. It's so good. But that end gut punched me. So on my personal spookometer, it gets 10 painfully beautiful endings out of 10 painfully beautiful endings. Number 29. This is another one that a lot of people hate, a lot of people don't know exist, and some people are like, I don't know why I like this movie, but I do. Go into this movie for a fun time, and you'll be good. It is 2005's Constantine, rated R. Keanu Reeves and Rachel Weisz. And spooky shit. What else do you need to know, alright? And the cat lives. It's a win. Although it doesn't go that well for Chaz, but there is a post-credit scene. So if you love Chaz and you're bummed, there is a post-credit scene, which even that was awesome creepy. I was like, that is good. Plus Tilda Swinton and Peter Stormare kill it in this movie. Every one of their scenes, their characters, oh my gosh. Anyway, basically it's a comic book turned one-shot movie. Constantine, and if you've seen the comic, you're gonna be like, huh? Just go into this movie to enjoy it, okay? Constantine sends demons back to hell and talks to angels, except creepier and cooler than I made that sound. And angels are not like fluffy little happy things, no. Big bad guys, Lucifer's son, good versus evil. Did I mention Keanu Reeves and Rachel Weisz are in this? I don't know which one of them has more of an entrancing voice, do you? The gore is super low. The story is fantastic. This movie isn't particularly amazing, but I don't know what it is. The vibes. On my personal spookometer, it gets 9 more supernatural spooks than horror spooks out of 10 supernatural versus horror spooks. Number 30 is one of a kind on this list. It was released in 2009. It is rated R, and it is The Perfect Getaway. If you're looking for more of an adventuring, thriller, comedic kind of horror, this couple's vacation movie is definitely the one for you. Newlyweds go on a secluded hike in Hawaii while couples are going missing. Yeah, that's awesome. That is an accurate sentence. The newlyweds go on a hike in a secluded part of Hawaii on purpose, knowing that couples are going missing. And this is actually a lot of fun. And the moments of tension before the reveal are really tense. Like, this movie builds really well, and we have 3 couples that we're following and playing off of that end up weaving around each other and together. It's awesome. So you've got Steve Zahn, Mila Jovovich, Timothy Oliphant, and Chris Hemsworth in Hawaii. And this movie is a ride. It is fantastic. The twist, and then the end in the helicopter. If you're in the mood for a more lighthearted and fun horror movie, this is the one for you. I love this. I love this movie. I'm not sure what it says about me. I'm not sure what any of this list says about me, but whatever. The gore is low to medium. The spookometer, my personal spookometer, is 10 teeth in the bag out of 10 teeth in the bag. Number 31 is The Librarians. It is a show. It is. If you want magical, goofy fun and no gore, no scares, this is the light-hearted show for you. It is so cheesy, and the effects are questionable at best. But I love this show. Absolutely love this show. Some people may recognize the movies of The Librarians. I know I watched them with my mom when I was a kid. I don't really remember them. They do have the same main character as the librarian. It's basically a magical library that keeps the world safe from chaotic magic. It's adorable. At no point do I feel like harming the writers or the characters, which is saying something, because my love for shows is very low because I have to like the whole show, and a lot of the times shows just go way too long, or they start to find stupid conflicts to put in there that I'm like, you're just like, this character you've created wouldn't do that, and now you've just ruined something that you built up over this long show to be beautiful and awesome, and now you're just tarnishing it. Like, my gripes of TV shows is long and intense, but let's not get into it. This show, I love it. You can go from minotaurs to the big bad wolf to an evil Egyptian god to a human that turns out to be the library. All of that in a span of a few hours, because I totally don't binge the show. But there's no gore. The show is just fantastic. It's phenomenal. And they keep the same cast the whole time. It's very... I love the development of the characters. It's a lot of fun. And it's goofy. And the effects are terrible. And it's so cheesy. And I love it. On my personal spookometer, it gets 10 vexings out of 10. I'm hinge is. And lastly, we have the bonus before I just rattle off my second choices, is Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? From 1969 to 1970, the original show, because it's a psychedelic group of groovy teens and their talking dog solving spooky mysteries. It's old with a dark, spooky aesthetic, and it's comforting in a low energy, chill, mystery sort of way. And you know, like those old cartoons, kind of like Courage the Cowardly Dog, when you look back, and as a kid it was like low-key a little creepy? It's kind of like that. Anything Scooby-Doo, I love. I own Scooby-Doo on DVD. I love it. Anywho, so that's our bonus. Now, to end our 31 days of October, I am going to list my 35 second choices. Some of these movies are terrible, but I love them. Number 1, The Descent. I like this movie. It's creepy, good aesthetic. Not too fond of the end, but I like this movie. Just in case you didn't know, there's 2 different endings. One that released in America is different. Number 2, 2003's Wrong Turn. 2003's version. Very 2000s aesthetic horror movie. Number 3, The Ring. While I don't know why people love this movie so much, I do love the spooky vibes. So if someone throws it on, I'll watch it. Number 4, The Others. I love this movie, it's really good, but it's not one I can watch all the time. Number 5, Lights Out. Another one I can't watch all the time, but I do enjoy it. Number 6 is World War Z. I can't tell you why it's mid, but it is. But at the same time, I really like this movie. I don't know. Number 7, House of Wax. I know. It's terrible, but I love it. Number 8, Barbarian. This movie is a twist, and it's a bunch of twists and turns, and it's fun, and crazy, and gross, and horrible, and the ending is so good. Number 9, 1992's The Candyman. Did you know he got, like, a huge payout for every bee that stung him in real life? Because those bees are really in his mouth. Extra credit, okay? Number 10. This movie is horrible, but I like it. Ghost Ship. Number 11 is 2004's Alien vs. Predator. Go in just looking for a fun time. Number 12, Stir of Echoes. I really like this movie. Number 13 is The Sixth Sense. Classic. The first time you ever watched it, it's just like, it's great. It's fantastic. Number 14, The Ruins, 2008. I know, it's not as good as the book, I hear, but I do like the movie just for the creepy factor of, like, what the actual bad guy is. Number 15, The Ritual. I love the monster. It's really good. Number 16, Cursed. I know, it's a terrible movie, but I love it. Number 17, Abigail. That was a really good movie. Number 18, 13 Ghosts. Just watch it for the vibes and the monsters. Yeah, and the dude that plays Shaggy, because he's hilarious. He's also Stu from Scream, the first one. He's a hilarious actor. All of the parts he's in, it just, oh my gosh. Number 19, Crimson Peak. I really liked that one. Number 20, Triangle. This movie is very little known. It's actually really good. I even forget it exists. I do want to buy it. Number 21, The Woman in Black. Number 22, Evil Dead Rise 2023. Some people hated it. I liked it. Number 23, Doomsday. I also liked this movie. A lot of people just think it's weird and stupid. Number 24, Arrival. It's more of like a spooky, whoa, mind bender. It's also kind of low-key depressing. 25, 1989's The Abyss. 26, Cloverfield. 26, Cloverfield. The monsters were so good. Those monsters deserve their own better movie that's more focused on the monsters. 27 is Dark Skies. Creepy AF. If you really think about if you were them and this was really happening. 28, The Show, Wednesday on Netflix. Really like it. It's fun. 29, X-Files, The Show. I have a love-hate relationship with this series because I love the beginning seasons. When they started moving everything around because Mulder wasn't in it, and then, like, it loses me. But I love the beginning seasons. Number 30, the movie 1408. has like 12,000 possible endings. I like it. Number 31, Identity, 2003. Not a lot of people know about this movie. I really like it. Number 32, The Cave, 2005. 33, Supernatural, the show, especially the first 2 or 3 seasons, very much more focused on the spooks. Number 34, You're Next. I really wanted to like this movie more because the main character is fire. I love her, but the movie is, she is, yes. And lastly, number 35, Dracula Untold. Again, one of those movies, it's like, okay, I like it though. We have 2 Halloween Christmas crossovers. Violent Night. It's not really a Halloween movie, but it is a horror movie. It's hilarious. And number 2, Krampus, the 2015 version. There's a bajillion Krampus movies. It has to be the 2015. That's the only one that I found that's good. And there are a few movies I want to watch, so if you know if these are good, please let me know. I think 2 or 3 of them are rewatches, but 1, Annihilation, I want to rewatch that movie. I don't really remember it. 2, I haven't seen and want to watch Only Lovers Left Alive. 3, The Host, the 2006 foreign film. Never seen it. 4, I want to watch the show Good Omens. 5, 2006's Stay Alive. I want to watch this Shirley for the 2000s goofy horror movie aesthetic. Again, never seen it. 6, I want to rewatch Silent Hill because I know there's some scenes in that movie I love, like the nurses, but I don't remember if the movie is good or not. And lastly, number 7, I want to watch Pan's Labyrinth. I don't think I've ever seen it. So those are my 31 days and some extra Halloween movies. I am curious what you think about all of these movies and shows, if you like any of them, if you've seen any of them, and I hope you have a spectacular